Hello class, today we are going to be starting a new book. This book should take us about a week to complete. It is called Rats Around Us, and so as you can imagine, it is about rats. This is a subject that most people don't really care for. It tends to make their skin crawl, but I think when we finish this book, you may have some different ideas about rats. So again, the book is called Rats Around Us. As we can see down here on the first cover page, it is written by Rachel Egan. You'll also notice that there's no mention of an illustrator here. Remember, an illustrator is somebody that draws the pictures for a book. In this case, we don't have an illustrator because the book only has photographs. So we would have had a photographer instead. So if I look down here, we'll see a list of people that help to contribute. And if you look here, there's a section that says photographs. It lists where each of those photographs would have come from, and it describes which photograph they're talking about. So let's go ahead and check out what this book looks like. This is an informational book, so it is nonfiction. And with a lot of informational type books, you'll notice things like this. The book does have a table of contents, and this is the best way to tell us how it's organized. So let's go through it together. So it looks like we have first a section on scratch and sniff. Then we have creepy stuff, rat history, family tree, anatomy lesson, life cycle, rat habitat, infestation, pets or pest, predators and prey, you dirty rat, rat facts, pest detective, and then a glossary and an index at the end. So I can tell them that this book is organized using a topic subtopic plan. So what would be the topic? What do you think the topic is right here? Okay, and then each of these short sections would be considered a subtopic. So for topic, did you say rats? If you did, you were correct. Okay, as I read today, follow along and think about whether you'd like to have a rat for a pet. I'm going to give you a chance to write about that later, but don't make your mind up too quickly. Wait until we've done the reading and get some extra information, and then you can decide. All right, let's go ahead and start reading. If for some reason you want to go back and read this book, you will find this book on the bookshelf in our classroom, listed under classroom resources in our Google Classroom. So it is there on the bottom shelf if you decide you'd like to go back and reread. All right, so this first chapter, or first subtopic, is scratch and sniff. What is buck-toothed, short-sighted, and furry? Who are the midnight bandits that rifle through the garbage and dart away at the sound of footsteps? The answer to both of these questions is rats. They live on almost every continent, happily nesting in dumpsters, riverbanks, and the walls of buildings. Rats can adapt, survive, and thrive in almost any environment and against all odds. Right? Well, I think I can infer something here just on this first paragraph. It says that they live on almost every continent. If there's one that they don't live on, it must be... Which one do you think it would be? If you said Antarctica, you are correct. Antarctica is typically too cold for really any living thing to survive. Right? So it's a rat's life. Loved and hated the world over, rats outnumber humans on every continent except Antarctica. They devour human food, spread disease, and wreak havoc on natural environments. They chew through wood, metal, bone, and even electrical wires, accidentally setting houses on fire. Rats contaminate huge stores of grain with their urine and droppings, making it unfit for humans to eat. Rats are also to blame for thousands of cases of food poisoning and other illnesses. We have this rat down here with a caption that says, rats live almost everywhere, including your neighborhood. So after this page, I'm thinking so far the picture that this author is painting of rats is just like we might imagine. Pretty disgusting. Certainly with modern technology, humans could wipe out rats if they really wanted to. If you answer the question here, do you think that rats should be completely wiped out? Do you think that would be a good idea? Hey, interesting response. Let's see if we change our mind at all. So this title here says foe and friend. So luckily, rats are not all bad. Curious, affectionate, and smart, they are beloved pets in many families. Rats also help save lives. They are used in labs for research on human diseases such as cancer. Scientists test medicines on rats to ensure that they are safe enough for people to use. The reason why rats make such excellent test subjects is that their internal organs, such as their hearts, brains, and kidneys, work in a lot of the same ways that human organs do. Currently, rats are even helping scientists to learn more about spinal cord injuries. One day, this work might allow people in wheelchairs to walk again. We see a caption up here that says, "Pet rats are gentle." So the picture is getting a little bit brighter, right? Where they say rats are not all bad. So a little bit of argument for why they might not be. All right, in the middle of this picture, we have some information. It says Crawley fact, nothing but the tooth. And we've got this rat here chewing on a bar. So I can see from the picture, I see that the rat's jaw is a lot smaller than a human's. But which set of jaws is stronger? Let's read and find out. So nothing but the tooth. Rats have chisel-like front teeth that are visible from the outside when their mouths are closed. Unlike human teeth, rats' pearly whites grow constantly, up to 5 inches every year. So how do rats keep their teeth the same length? By chewing. Rats can gnaw through just about any material, including wood, plastic, and metal. They can easily dig through cinder blocks, gently hacking their way through newly constructed buildings. Their teeth are so strong that they can chomp down with a force of 24,000 pounds per square inch. That's more than 20 times the strength of the human bite. Let's get down into this creepy stuff here. I couldn't imagine having my teeth grow that much in 1 year. I'm sure glad I don't have to do what rats do. All right, so I'm looking at, are we on the right page? Yep. Creepy stuff. Thanks for the grub. Rats live everywhere people do. The reason? The food. Rats scavenge human food and squat in human shelters. Rats live under the porch, in the attic, and behind the walls of buildings. They scurry through the subways and take up residence in restaurants. Thanks for the grub. Rats are commensal, a word that comes from 2 Latin words, commensa, which means to share a table. Certain species of rats become dependent on humans hundreds of years ago, and they have never looked back. Quite simply, these rats need people. In North America, there are only 2 types of commensal rats, Norway and black rats. It is thanks to humans that commensal rats have become the most widely distributed mammals on Earth. Now, I'm kind of thinking, though, they keep mentioning this commensal rats. Are all rats commensal? The author says that there are 2 main kinds of commensal rats. So does that mean there are kinds of rats that are not commensal? I wonder. In this caption here, it says, "Don't mind if I do. Rats are house guests even when they are not pets." Stuffed with rats. And we can see over here, let's take a look at the pictures. This is a picture here of New York City. It says as a densely populated city near a body of water, New York City is practically a resort for rats. So let's go up and read. Here is a question that has befuddled scientists for centuries. Just how many rats are there? At one time, it was thought that in cities, there was probably about 1 rat for every person. But with huge populations like New York City, over 8.3 million people live there, scientists went back to check their numbers. Today, it is believed that rats outnumber humans worldwide, but it is still difficult to say how many live in one place. Some scientists believe that in big cities, where food and shelter is readily available, it is safe to say that there is at least 1 rat per 36 people. 1 rat for every 36 people, and there's 8.3 million people in New York. That is a lot of rats. Germ carriers. Rats have been accused of spreading deadly diseases for centuries. Rats tend to live in crowded, filthy conditions, making them excellent carriers of food poisoning. but it gets worse. Rats can also spread leptospirosis, also known as Wales disease, typhus, spotted fever, trichinosis, rat bite fever, and hantavirus. And a little fun fact for us here, that's creepy. Today's special, roasted rat. When explorers first began sailing the seas in search of new lands, it was not uncommon for sailors to dine on rats. Ships were not equipped with modern refrigeration, so food spoiled very quickly on ships at sea. Rats, which were always plentiful on ships, became a reliable meal. Today, these protein-packed rodents are enjoyed in many parts of the world, including the Philippines, Vietnam, China, and parts of East Africa. In Sicily, it is not uncommon to find rats in markets sold in bundles tied together by their tails. Ooh. Answer this question. Do you think eating a rat sounds tasty? That's what I thought. Obviously, the people in all these places don't feel the same way. So why do they see things differently? See if you can answer that question. If you say it has to do with culture, you're right. Our culture has conditioned us to think differently. Our culture conditioned us to think that rats are not something that we should eat, but other cultures find them quite tasty. So with it, we're going to stop here for today. On page 7, there's my page number down there. And we're going to do a little bit of work with what we've read so far. So we're going to do some language and a little bit of writing to go along with this. So what I'll need you to do is when you close this video, you're going to open the second video that's on there, our part 2, if you will. And you'll want to also have open the assignment that's posted in your Google Classroom that says Day 1, Rats Around Us, Language, Usage, and Writing. So I will see you in that next video.